My name is Sakkumi. I am one of the cosplay guests here at San Japan this year. I'm really honored and excited to be here and to be able to teach the knowledge that I have to all of you guys. I specifically chose posing and photo shoot tips because I feel like that's not something that a lot of cosplayers talk about, but it's really important when trying to capture the correct energy of the character. I know too many times I have just the worst posing, or like I look like super awkward in my poses, and it's because I'm not prepared enough. I don't do my research beforehand, or somebody asks for a photo and I just don't know what to do in that moment. My body freezes up, and I used to be like that when I first started cosplay, is especially like at conventions. I have some photos of me that I'm just, like a standing man emoji. Like it's it's super awkward, and so that's why I feel like having a panel like this is super helpful in order to get the correct energy out there of your character and not just look super awkward. I know a lot of young cosplayers have asked me, like, how do I just stop looking so stiff? Like, I look so weird in this photo. I'm like, well, it's little things that you can change for your poses. You can tilt your head a little bit, things like that. Anyway, I'm yapping. I'm waiting for a few more people come in, and then I can start the slide. But thank you everybody again for coming today. I'm really glad to see all of you here. And I'm gonna take this off real quick. Okay, so like I said, my name is Sakkumi. I've been cosplaying since 2010, so it's like, what, 14 years now? I'm old. So I'm doing it for quite a long time. I've gone to a lot of conventions across the United States. I've done tons and tons and tons of photo shoots with friends, with photographers. I go traveling and do photos sometimes across the world. I will go and do a photo shoot specifically for the location. So I feel like while I do have experience in this, I'm not like a professional. So I'm not like a model, I would say. I'm not perfect, so take everything I teach you with a grain of salt. And if you guys have any additional tips that you'd like to share with everybody, I want to hear them as well. Like, I want you guys to be able to feel comfortable raising your hands, speaking out if you have a question for me or for anybody. We can make it a group discussion. I just want to make sure that we all kind of learn something together here, and I would like to learn from you guys as well. So, because even now, I'm like, what can I do to improve my posing? So, okay. Before I go on the next slide, how many of you guys have had a photo taken of you and you literally look like this? Right? You look like this. Right? It's super awkward, and it's awkward to see the photo afterward. It's awkward in the moment, and I can actually, the next slide, I'm showing you a few photos of me being just awkward poses of me. One of them is from one of my very first cosplays. Another one is from just recently. The photo was snapped and I wasn't ready. The angles were wrong. I was looking the wrong way. I was posing super weird, and it's weird. I'll show you some weird examples that I have here. This is one of my first cosplays ever. I thought that it would be a cute photo. I'm frowning in this picture. You can't see. I'm making a frowny face, and the top of it's cut off. So I was really young in this photo, and I think obviously now I know enough to improve. Here's an awkward elevator, it's blurry, it's out of focus, and it's not flattering. And then here's one that was recently taken. I look like I'm so depressed and sad, but that was not the intention. I was kind of zoning off a little bit. I wanted like a nice, like serene looking photo, and the way that my friend captured it made me look like I was so depressed. So these are some examples of bad poses, I would say. I mean, maybe they're not bad to you guys. They were funny. I think they're funny to look at, but it doesn't capture the essence of the character. It doesn't portray it in the way that I would have liked it to portray. So anyway, just some awkward photos here of me, because again, I'm not a professional either, and I'm still learning to this day. Even though I've been doing this for 14 years, I still don't know what I'm doing sometimes. And in the moment, you can panic if you're cosplaying even like a new character that you've never worn before, and you're told to pose, like in the moment, you don't know what to do. I'll talk about how to kind of go about those later in the slides, but yeah, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is posing in cosplay, and the next part of This PowerPoint is gonna be like Photoshoot tips. So for this first part, I'm gonna just show you a list of bullets of like topic points that I wanna go through. So the first one is familiarizing yourself with the character that you're cosplaying. The next is researching poses in advance. I'm guilty of not doing this. It's way better to prepare for these things, so that's a big one. Utilizing props and focal points in order to make the photo kind of stand out. Posing with other people. I know maybe posing by yourself can be difficult for some people. Posing with friends and people with you, it's a lot easier, but you both kind of have to be on the same page as well. So, and that, looking like natural and not stiff in your photos. Again, these are like little micro things that, just like minor change of your, like the direction of your head, or the way that your body's relaxed, I think is kind of important to note. And then default poses. So I'll talk a lot more about that later, but these are poses that I have chosen as basically my backup poses that in the moment I need a pose, or the photographer's snapping photos just on and on and on, and I have to keep posing, I have to keep moving. These are my default poses that I refer to all the time, and it's really, really helpful for everybody, I think, that's cosplaying and wants a good photo, or even not just cosplay, just any photos in general, to have these poses just ready in the back of your mind. So, the first thing I will talk about is, again, the topic didn't pop up, but it's familiarizing yourself with the character. So think about the character that you want to cosplay, or that you're going to cosplay, that you're wanting to get photos of. What kind of personality do they have? What kind of body language and expressions do they use? I know that I sometimes have a hard time being fully in character, so I will be cosplaying a really serious character and just be like happy grinning, and it doesn't look right. Like something about it feels off, and it's because that's not the character's personality. So really get to know what kind of personality they have, and really get in the mindset of being the character that you are cosplaying. How would they react in the setting that you're in? So for example, if you're cosplaying like a high school character, how would they react in the high school? How would they react in certain locations, certain buildings? How would they interact with their surroundings? I think just fully taking on the mode, like the whole role of the character is important in portraying how they look. And also, it tells a lot of what kind of character they are. Even if nobody knows who this character is, a lot will be spoken about them depending on like the photo that's taken, the body language that you use, the pose that you have. A lot can be said in just 2 photos. You don't even have to know anything about the character to kind of get an idea of their personality. And so I think the next thing I have is, what kind of poses would feel natural to them? What kind of poses would be a little uncomfortable to them? Again, it's really just getting your mind in the cosplay role, like this character's role. You really want to try to become this character so that you can fully like pose comfortably as them. So, there's the title. So I have a couple of examples here of 2 characters, very, very different characters, but I think even if you don't know anything about them, just based off of my body language, my posing, my facial expressions, you can kind of tell what sort of character they are, what kind of personality they have. So here's the first one. Obviously, I'm looking very shy, I'm hiding behind something, my body language is kind of close together, not really huge, but all kind of in one spot. And you can see that I just look very scared. Honestly, I look very scared or very shy, and that's that character. But then here's another character that's kind of the complete opposite. He has very open body language. He's got a smirk on his face. He seems really, like, I don't know, delinquent type character. I don't know, he might be a silly guy to hang out with. Maybe he'll kick your butt, I don't know. But these are just kind of examples of how your body language can translate in a cosplay photo. So, there is that. Um, this one I think is important, and I'm guilty of not doing this, but I highly, 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 highly recommend researching poses in advance. If you're planning a photo shoot, if you're planning to cosplay a character at a convention even, because people will ask for your photo all the time. You don't want to look like standing man emoji because that's super awkward. But researching poses in advance is key, I think. It's key and so important and something that I wish I did in my early years of cosplay. So, yeah, like what kind of vision do you have for your character? What sort of poses fit that vision? So for me, when I envision like a photo shoot, I think about the setting, the atmosphere. I think about how the character would act in that setting. I have to, think about the poses that they'll be doing. This is super, super helpful is when you research poses in advance and things like that, I save the references and your inspiration images to a folder that you can easily access later. I do this all the time for photo shoots because sometimes you forget what kind of pose you want to do, and so you can just whip up this photo or whip up the folder. Typically, I use things like Pinterest or Google Drive to just have a whole bunch of inspiration photos in. And if I'm shooting with a photographer, I will refer to this folder and all these images and kind of the poses that I had planned in advance because, time is also money. Photographers cannot photo shoot you for a whole day sometimes, and sometimes they have a time set, so you have to make sure that you utilize your time wisely and have that available for you. So, the types of researching that I do, the poses that I think are, really like the great poses to do is obviously official poses like characters with official artwork. You see the official art, you want to imitate that in real life. That's important if that's something you want to recreate. For me, it's like certain scenes in video games. If there's like a certain screenshot that I really like, I try to save that image and try to recreate it later in my cosplay. Things like fan art as well, actually. A lot of fan artists do a really good job at portraying characters, and sometimes I do follow the poses of fan art and kind of go from there. So fan art is actually super helpful as well. And then just general art and model poses. You can look these up online, just general posing examples. Again, I usually find these poses if I'm searching on Pinterest, and tons of things will pop up there. Pinterest is a really, really great tool for this. So yeah, that's researching poses in advance. Again, super, super important, I think, in order to really show in order to really capture the character and look like them and become them, because that's what cosplay is about. Cosplay is becoming the character. I think just knowing how to do the pose is super important. So again, I have a couple of examples of my inspiration image or the pose that I was trying to recreate, and then my pose. So obviously I did get some help with these with my photographer. I did have a helper. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but having somebody there to help you pose you in the right direction, the right position is also really helpful to have that. So this first one is Toma and Taromaru from Genshin Impact. My dog, I love my dog, he's my son, and I really wanted to make a cosplay for him, and so this is the cosplay that I made for him. And it was a challenging pose, but we did try it out. He did not want to be on my shoulders, but he was taking it like a champ. And I did have somebody next to me to make sure to catch him if he ever tried to fall or jump off me. But yeah, this is an example of me trying to recreate a scene from a game or from a video. And I liked, I think it turned out really cute. I really do. I think it's super cute. There are a couple of photos where he has his ears kind of turned back and he looks super scared, but obviously we got the right one. So there's that one. I really love this photo. Another one is this here. You probably, if you've seen a photo of me at my banner, you'll see that this picture here I tried to recreate the pose. It's obviously not perfect, but encapsulated most of the same pose. This is the only picture I had of this outfit. This is the only photo that I had, and so that's just kind of the only photo I had to work off of. So I really wanted to recreate it and just try to copy the same style of the pose as well. So I think I have one more example. Just kidding, I don't have any more examples. So yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about was utilizing props, focal points like on your cosplay or I guess around your cosplay, and then like the atmosphere that you'll be in. Really think about what kind of props your character has, what kind of props they can use, and how you can pose with them. Something small, something tiny can be considered a prop. And for me, I try to get a prop for almost every cosplay that I do. It just makes it so much easier to pose with, because I always like to do something with my hands when it comes to posing. It'll, I feel like it makes it less awkward instead of like, again, standing man emoji, you're doing something with your hand, it's a little more engaging. And when you have a prop, like a sword or a weapon, or not even just like weapons, but even like a bottle of water, anything that you can pose with, you can make the photo look interesting, and it'll be easier to pose with an item, I think, rather than just trying to pose by yourself. There's other, if you have like a focal point on your cosplay, what kind of poses would you do in order to bring attention to it? And I should have included a photo of this, but I think an example of this would be like if your character, let's say your character has a really huge bow on the back of their dress, and you really like the bow, it's really big, beautiful bow. You're gonna wanna think of poses and like ways to bring attention to that bow, because if that's something that you want people to see, you'll wanna make sure that you pose in a way that it can be seen and it doesn't look awkward. So things like that. I mean, another example would be like a necklace, it's a very meaningful necklace of this character. It's not, I don't know if it's necessary, it could be considered a prop, I guess, but it's also like a focal point on the cosplay. So maybe just like how you would hold the necklace, like how you would pose with it, I don't know. Things like that. So just kind of take into consideration parts of your cosplay that are important to the character, maybe to their backstory, to the lore, or just something that maybe if you made your cosplay and you really like how a certain part turned out, try to find ways to pose with the specific thing that you like, and go from there. So the atmosphere is also a huge one. Locations. What kind of photo shoot location are you shooting at? Like, where are you planning to go to cosplay this character and take photos at? I think it's not always necessary, obviously, to go to a specific location to get a photo of a character in order to like get the energy of the character and fully encapsulate them. But there's something I think very magical about I don't know, going out in cosplay and touching grass and recreating images. It's really fun. It's honestly the only way I touch grass is, going out for photo shoots. But yeah, like just thinking about locations that you can go to, even you can make it a trip with your friends. You can plan a trip to go somewhere, travel there, take photos there. It makes it much more memorable, I think, for me as well, is because I have photos of the location I was at. I have these really cool examples, and yeah, I think just using atmosphere locations to your advantage is super, super helpful. A lot of times I take photos like by bodies of water, so you kind of consider like how would the character interact with the water? Would they just stare at it? Would they like put their hand down and kind of play around with it? Things like that. So I have, I think, a few examples of me just holding props, like, just very basic examples, but these all kind of fall under that category of what I was just talking about. So obviously I'm holding a sword here as Tanjiro, and my photographer kind of put a focus on like the sword and my face. So the sword kind of leads to my face, which I think is really cool. And I kind of tried to do a battle pose in order to take this photo here. Here is Ito from Genshin Impact. I 3D printed this little bug, the Onikabuto, and I really, really wanted him to be the focal point of the photo. Obviously, my face is also there in the photo, but I wanted people to see why I was so happy, why I was so excited to see this cool little bug, just this little guy. So that was obviously a focal point that I think my photographer did a good job on, like kind of framing it in such a good way that you would look at the bug, you would look at my face, see what I'm looking at, and have that. Some more examples of me posing with, I think, props is this one. This was from my most recent photo shoot. It's obviously the character that I'm cosplaying right now. I'm holding a feather. It's just a feather. It's nothing special, but it's a prop that I had on hand, and I was like, I can use this to my advantage. I'm gonna use it. So there's a feather. Here's one that I took as Jing Yuan from Honkai Star Rail. We went to a lake, and the whole reason we went here we traveled 3 hours to get out here, maybe. I think it's something like that, but we overheard that this place was great for reflections. It's Tokyo Ghoul, okay? If it's giving Tokyo Ghoul, we wanted to utilize the location to our advantage. And I was able to get this really awesome photo of just my reflection, like perfect reflection in the water. And this next photo is just another me holding props as Link. So just kind of how you would pose as that. And then this one is one that I wanted to talk the most about, just because I think it's fun and it's interesting, and it's also just super useful to have these in the back of your mind, because I refer to my default poses all the time. My friend has actually made fun of me for some of these default poses that I do and calls them the Sakkumi poses, and actually they told me it's funny because you do these poses all the time, but then I started doing them and now it's super useful. Like, they're super helpful just to have in the back of your mind. And so I want to just kind of touch on that, like referring to your default poses when you're out of poses, when you're out of ideas, when you don't know what to do next. If, again, your photographer is snapping photos, you don't want to make the same pose for the whole photo shoot. That you don't want to do the same pose. So you'll have to kind of move around quickly and just change your pose, even if it's just slightly. So this is kind of helpful to refer to. Again, also think about what kind of poses work well for the majority of characters you cosplay. Sometimes I have like categories, like for my edgy characters, this is my default pose, but for my cutesy characters, this is my default pose. Obviously, I can't do the same for both. I mean, I could try, but it probably won't look great. So let's just kind of keep that in mind as well. And then I just want to talk about also just some default poses, like what's a good default pose? You know, what's one that comes to your head automatically? Like the first thing that pops to your head. Anybody? Back here? The peace sign? Yeah, I do this one all the time. This one is just a fun one. Yeah, over here?
Putting your hand out to the camera.
Oh, okay, you know what?
Yep.
Like that? Like that? Like that? We joke around as cosplayers and talk, this is the universal cosplayer pose. It's the let's take ibuprofen together. The thing is, you can make it look good. You can make it work well. And obviously you see in these photos, my hand is not in the same spot every time. The first one, my hand is kind of out, kind of like leaning in, like I'm kind of beckoning you to come. The second one is just my hand is kind of out, like I'm about to reach out to you. And the third one, I kind of have my hand on my chest and I'm having my hand reach out to you. But this is, yeah, again, me and all my friends joke about this pose and how it is just the universal cosplay pose. But it's a unique pose because you're engaging the camera. It's like you're interacting with them, like you kind of want to go out and reach the person's hand that's kind of has their hand out for you. So I joke around, this pose is pretty good for like idol characters, you know, idol girls, idol boys, characters that are usually happy, I don't know, romantic, like things like that. So that's this pose. I just think it's funny that somebody did bring that up because I knew somebody would bring it up, and that's why it was my first one that I wanted to talk about. But I have a few more examples of my default poses. Before I keep going though, does anybody have any default poses that they think of that they usually refer to that they do? Anyone?
Hero landing.
Hero landing?
Yeah.
Wait, what is that?
Like Iron Man?
Iron Man, okay. Yeah, that's a good one, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like punch the ground when you land or something like that?
Yeah, that one. I feel like that doesn't work for all characters. That one is a good default pose specifically for him, I think, and maybe a few other action characters, but
I think
I'll keep going with the ones that oh, over here?
I think some people that do villains, they do like the hand cover with a smile showing. Like that, yeah.
I call it the chunibyo. The chuni, like, I do this all the time, okay? When you're cosplaying mysterious, evil characters, you kind of want to like hide your face, make it look a little interesting. Like, I really like that pose as well. I think it's a good one. Yes, back here in the yellow shirt.
The traditional fight pose.
The fight pose, like you're ready to, yep, that's a good one. I refer to this pose a lot too. And you can do a lot with that too. It doesn't have to just be that. You can engage your legs with it. You can kind of move back, move forward. There's a lot you can do with that pose. Yes, right here.
Sword over the shoulder.
Sword over the shoulder, yeah. I actually have a photo of that. I did not include it in the slide, but I do have that pose. That's a good one. Yeah. So that's also one of those things where utilizing your prop is really important. So I have some more default poses. Oh, do you have your hand up here?
Yeah. The push your glasses out.
Oh yeah, this one. There's a lot of ways you can do it too. I don't know what animes you guys have seen, but I feel like every anime character with glasses puts their glasses up a little bit differently. So like there's this one, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one. There's a lot of different ways that one, like pulling it up like that. There's a lot of different ways you can pose with just like glasses, with a single prop. There's so many different things you can do. So, one second, my throat is dry, give me a second. Any others? Before I show you a few more of my own. Yeah, so with the mask here.
I usually do the little like anime girl cat pose.
This one? I think that one's really cute. This one is a good cutesy pose. I feel like I use that one quite a bit too. It's just really cute. Oh no, you could do that, or you could do the, I don't know why I'm doing that right now, but you know, the cute cat pose. Yeah, I like that one as well. Anyone else? Yes, right here.
Like when the strong characters where they have the open chest and their mouth is agape open, like
Yeah, that
one.
Okay, I'll actually show you a little bit of an example of that. I have it shown because I do refer to that a lot. I use my hands a lot in photos, and I think it's because it'll make your photo feel more engaging. It's, again, you don't want to be standing man emoji. It's just so awkward and uncomfortable, and everyone that sees that photo is also uncomfortable, and it's just a little weird, unless you're trying to be funny. Like, it is a funny picture, but for me personally, I try not to ever just have my hands down to my side and just standing stiff, because it's awkward. It's a little awkward. So I always try to kind of utilize my hands in some sort of way. So, okay, I'll move on to my next one. This one I do a lot. This one is only an example of me adjusting my tie, but this is something that you could use, like the glasses we were talking about. There's so many ways that you can adjust your glasses, so many ways you can adjust your clothes. If you don't have a prop, I refer to this default pose a lot. So like right now, I can kind of hold my jacket here. I know people with hoods kind of like have their hand on their hood, like they're putting it up or taking it off. I'm trying to think what else, like jewelry. If you have jewelry, you can kind of play with that, like tug your ear with the earrings, or like kind of play with, for like, gloved characters, I see this one a lot, you know, pulling up the gloves. It just makes the photo feel more realistic, I guess. It makes it feel more natural. So there's that one. Again, I refer to this one a lot. Touching your face. There's a lot of ways you can do this as well. It depends on what kind of pose you're getting. But again, if you don't have a prop, either you can adjust your clothes, you can touch your face. I do this one a lot. There's a lot of different ways you can touch your face, kind of like the villain example, how you do there's a lot of different ways that you could do that. I don't have any examples here, but usually if I'm cosplaying a character that has long nails, like sharp claws, I like to touch my face so you can see the claws. It brings that focal point to the claws, which I think it's cool. Like, the claws are really cool, you know, you want to showcase that in your photos. And so whenever I have clawed characters, I always kind of try to touch my face or like show the camera that I have these cool claws. There's that. I also, or like if your character's wearing some really like cool looking gloves, you know, you want to just focus somewhere on the face or like on the hands. If they've got cool jewelry, like rings and things like that, that's another thing that is useful, is just like touching your face and everyone can see the focal point there. So I forgot to put the title. You'll see this. This is neck pain from Con Crunch. This is, or it could also be like, you know, the nervous anime, like that sort of pose. I do this one quite a bit, again, when I'm running out of ideas. There's this one, and I don't think I included it in the slideshow, but it's the holding your neck or like having your hand on the back of your head. I kind of do this one a lot. So again, I don't know, I feel like it brings, it's a little more interesting. It kind of, you're utilizing your arms and your hands, but you don't necessarily need a prop to do this. So there's that one. Fushigi! So I don't know if you guys understand this reference, but it's like I'm holding an invisible ball, right? I'm holding an invisible energy orb. I want to show you guys, like, I'm ready to fight. I'm like excited about, I don't know. I think this is the best title that I could have think of, like, or you're just holding something imaginary. I refer to this pose all the time, maybe a bit too much, maybe I refer to it too much, but if I don't know what to do with my hand, I can just kind of do something like hold an invisible ball in front of my face. Try to make it look natural, don't make it look like super weird. Like with my Sukuna photo in the last photo, obviously I have my hands more outspread because I wanted it to look like I was about to fight somebody in that moment, whereas the other ones are a bit more relaxed because I'm obviously just sitting down and not ready to fight somebody in that moment. Another example of this is you can do it with just one hand, or you could do it with two hands. And that's similar to what you were talking about earlier with like the hands out. You could do like facial expression there, but I always also refer to this pose, the double fushigi. You know, just think of the invisible ball in your hand. There's different ways you can pose with that invisible ball. There's different things that you can do with it. And it makes the photo interesting because you can see your hands, you can see kind of how you're engaging with the photo as well. So there's the it's too bright outside pose, golden hour, but at what cost? I refer to this pose a lot as well. It doesn't even have to be like you're staring at the sun. Like that first photo, it's kind of one of those like, I'm looking somewhere. You could also do that, I'm like pointing at something, but that you gotta make that one a little more natural. You can't just be like, you know. But yeah, this one I like to refer to. I think it's cute. You can kind of just see like in the second photo as well, I am blocking the sun out of my face. The third photo, it looks like I'm just waking up, and so I'm squinting and I'm just like, oh, the sun. So this one is a good default pose. If you're outdoors, this is kind of one that I always refer to. The Disney princess, I wish I had more examples, I just have this one. It's similar to the fushigi, but it's more relaxed. It's more like elegant. It's like there's an invisible bird that's about to fly onto your hand, that sort of thing. For girls, like you can kind of have one hand out up like this, the other hand up like this. It's the Disney princess, Disney prince pose. I think it's just a nice relaxed sort of pose that's very serene, kind of encapsulates just like the prince vibes. Of the photo. These are a few more examples in my Ito cosplay of just various poses. Oh, there's the one on the head, on the back of your head. That one I also, again, refer to a lot. Or if your character has like a ponytail, you can kind of look like you're pulling your ponytail back. You're engaging both your arms, kind of making the photo a little more interesting, and things like that. So the first one as well is just your simple, like arms crossed. I usually do this one, kind of huff out my chest if I'm cosplaying a strong or a proud character, or even just a serious character. You can kind of be a little more gloomy with that. I don't really like to refer to that the arms crossed pose too much because it's similar to the standing man emoji, but with just your arms up a little bit. So you really gotta make sure that feels more natural. But yeah, there's just a couple. Oh. Those are all the examples I have. Before I move on, are there any other default poses that you guys can think of that are useful, that you usually refer to, that you want to share with everybody else?
Maybe like arms crossed.
Like this one?
Yeah.
Like your arms crossed like this? again, that is a good one. It is a good pose, but I think you have to use it. For me, I try to use it sparingly because you're not really engaging a lot of your body into it. But I mean, that is still a good default pose.
Or like hand on the chin like that.
Hand on the chin. I do this one a lot. Yeah, that also goes with kind of like the touching your face, like showing the camera your hands. I do this one a lot as well. If I wanted to just look out in the distance, kind of have my hand on my chin, or you can kind of do like there's a lot of different ways that you could do that one. Yes, Pink, over here.
You're like walking around, so your photographer can get like action shots.
Mm-hmm, so it's like natural looking walking, right? Yeah, so like natural, that's also kind of hard to do if you need to stand still, and the photographer's like, stay still, I'm gonna catch this photo, and then you're just like, sometimes it's hard to hold that. So if they have a good camera and they can just snap while you're actually walking, that's the best. I think those kind of photos turn out like the cutest as well, like just very candid photos. Like if you're laughing, somebody makes a joke and you're just smiling and laughing, I think those photos turn out really genuine, really cute. Yes, back here?
I kind of call it the flourish.
The flourish?
I pick up a lot of things with cloaks and capes, so it's that big, billowing, like bowing flourish, or when you have a cloak, you blow your cloak back.
Yeah, so they kind of like holding out your cloak.
The flourish.
Playing with your clothes, that sort of thing. It's that same kind of pose. In one of the photos that I just showed, you saw my genuine photo on the water. I was pulling out my cape like this, this not cape, but he's got like a long arm sleeve that I was pushing outward, and so that's kind of similar to that there. But yeah, with capes especially, you can do a lot with capes because that's a lot of fabric, and so you can. Usually, it's nice to have a helper come and like carry the cape, and they can drop it for you, like run out of the photo. You can make some really cool photos that way, but also just like throwing it yourself, you can get some really cool action shots that way. Yep.
Delinquent squat.
The delinquent squat. Do you want me to do that?
Yeah. Do it.
I gotta go down here. Are you talking about this?
Yeah, but the arms in the middle.
Arms
yeah,
on the legs.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Just
do
like
that
this.
all the
I'll
time.
show you guys over here.
All the time.
I use this one a lot because I cosplay a lot of delinquent bad boys. Okay. Kind of lean forward. You kind of do a lot with this pose, but it's just the bad boy looking like delinquent pose. I think that's a good one. I refer to that one a lot. Sorry, I had to go all the way down here. I didn't want to stand on the table.
Coward.
Yeah, right here in the front.
Would you do the squat with the hand poses as well?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the ball pose, yeah, the fushigi with the squat. I think that's a power combo. Somebody should try it and show me how it looks. I think that'd be cool. Yes, right here in the front, or right over here.
Yeah, with a sword or gun or wand or something, aiming it right at the camera.
Similar to,
But-
let's take ibuprofen together, but with the
Yes,
prop.
with a prop. But a comment on that, in almost every case, it is better to have it slightly offset instead of straight at the camera.
Yep. If you saw back at my Tanjiro photo, I was pointing my sword at the camera, but it was slightly to the side because if you do straight on, you can block out parts of your face, like the camera, and it's nice to have it lead to your face, like a focal point. That's what I love about swords and weapons and things like that. If you point it to the camera and you angle it just a little bit, then their eyes will follow that line straight to your face, and that is your focal point, is your face, for the most part, if that's like what you're wanting to show. So, any other examples of good default poses? Yes?
Finger hurts.
The finger hearts.
Finger all the time.
This one's
all
cute.
The time.
There's a lot you can do with these. I feel like that one, again, good for cutesy characters. How do the kids do this one? I don't know. I don't know the new one these days. This is the one that I know. Yeah, that one I do refer to that a lot for like cute characters, for idol characters, or even just like my everyday life outside of cosplay. I always do this. Yep, right here.
Like hands behind the back or like cross behind the back.
Oh, like stretching?
No, you can have like just like this small your back, you know.
Oh, like you're scratching your back? Got a little
Like
itch?
they can be turned around and you'll see their back, but they'll have their hands like.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be cool. And sorry, you had your hand up over here as well?
So it's basically just arms crossed, but one down. And I usually do shy characters with that.
Mm-hmm. Wait, so it was, sorry, say that first part again with the hand down.
It's arms crossed, but one hand is down.
Arms crossed, one hand down. Oh, that one. This one? Yeah, so that's another thing too with shy characters. You really want to be like closer to your body, and that is a good one where you're just kind of having your whole body kind of in itself. Whereas again, if you're cosplaying other characters that aren't shy, you want to be as big and open as you can. So, any other examples you guys can think of? Yes, right here in the back.
For gowns, or even if you in a uniform, don't be afraid to show the side and emphasize or look over your shoulder.
That's a great one. Yeah, don't be afraid to look over your shoulder. I think that goes along with the focal point, like focusing on a specific part of your outfit that you want to show the camera. So yeah.
Your back and then turn.
Yeah, you can turn like halfway. Don't always get front on shots, because if your cosplay has some unique pieces on like the shoulders, on the back, you want to showcase those as well. So you can refer to like, you can turn your body an angle, look backward, or look to the side, and I think you can get some cool photos that way that showcase those parts of the cosplay that are not typically seen. All right, any other examples? Yes, up here?
I don't know if it's a default, but like when it's usually I think a joke when they've done too many poses, like the damsel in distress. Yes, that one exactly.
Yeah, that's a silly pose. Just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I like that one. When you're just joking around, that's a good silly pose that I like to do as well. Another one that I like to do that's just a silly pose is just lay flat on the ground. That one's pretty funny. Or if what me and my friends usually do for a silly pose is we stand at the very, very end of a hallway, run all the way to the other side, and do the intimidating standing man emoji. It's pretty good. Yes, right here?
There's like crouching, but your arms around your knees kind of thing?
That's an example. It's similar to the delinquent squat, but a little more closed.
Yeah.
So a little more shy, a little more like kind of closed in on yourself. Yeah, that's a good one. I think squatting, that's another thing too, is I don't have any examples on here, unfortunately, but I think squatting for photos, don't be afraid to squat for your pictures. Unless you're wearing like a dress, a short skirt, please don't squat for your photos. Be very smart about squatting. But don't be afraid to get low, get towards the ground. Do unique poses that are not like typically seen. For a group photo, I didn't put an example here, but for a group photo, I had a group of 5 people in my group, and we were all trying to pose together. And it's hard to coordinate group photos. If any of you have done it, if you've cosplayed in a group, it's really hard sometimes to work with the rest of the people in your group if they don't know how to pose. So what I usually do is I refer to images, and I'm the one that poses them. And if I don't know what to do and I see everyone else is standing, I squat. I just go down to the ground, I squat. I can move closer to the front because I'm shorter. I can engage my legs. I can make my legs look longer and kind of spread them out further. I think squatting and utilizing your legs is also something that you can refer to if you don't know what other poses to do. So, all right. Any other poses that you want to share with the class? I'm actually getting a lot of ideas now. Like, you guys are giving me good ideas for some future default poses, and maybe you'll be seeing these from now on for me as well. Okay. All right, I'll move on to the next half. So, photo shoot tips. The first part was mainly focusing on posing. This next part is focusing more on like a photo shoot itself, and kind of aspects of what to expect during a photo shoot, and things that you can, I guess, better prepare for your photo shoot. So the first thing, obviously, is communicating with your photographer. I think that's extremely important, and it doesn't even have to be a professional photographer. Even if you're getting your friend to take your picture for you, or like a family member, I think communicating with them your vision, like what you want, will help them capture a good photo for you. Getting a helper if possible. I sometimes do self-photo shoots, and so I can't always get a helper, because sometimes you just don't have friends, and it's fine. But no, like if you can get a helper and you're going out to do a photo shoot, it's better to have an assist, like somebody that's assisting you and the photographer. The more helpers, the better. I think it'll save the photographer's life if they need help getting like the best lighting on your face. It'll help you if that helper can kind of go out there, fix your clothes, your cosplay. That's kind of your wig, your strand, the wig strands that are coming off your wig. And then also, like I was mentioning before, preparing poses with other people. This is similar to what I talked about towards the beginning of researching your poses, making sure you have that folder. And like referring to it during the photo shoot. What I do when I plan group photo shoots is I kind of make a group chat with everybody. We throw in photo examples of what we like, fan art, regular poses like official art, things like that. We kind of share it all, and then I add it all to a folder, and then we all kind of look at it and refer to it when we need to take the photo. Because it's, again, time is money. We don't have all the time in the world, and group photos take a long time because you're managing multiple people. So I think having everybody on the same page, you're all looking at the same images kind of to refer to is key. It's really important. And then also the last thing on here is utilizing your best angles. This is, I think, you know people when they say, show me your good side. Like, do you guys feel like you actually have a good side?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah, someone said no. Someone said yeah. Okay, do you think your good side changes sometimes in cosplay?
Yes.
Yeah, and why is that? Why do you think your good side changes?
So based on the character that you're portraying, your face actually has different dynamics, and based on that portrayal, you can lean out that deception a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. For me, whenever I cosplay, I feel like my good side always changes because I feel like my best angle is not usually straight on, not usually the side, but kind of a 3/4 view, and it's either this side or this side, and it changes depending on, I think, usually how the wig frames my face. If I have hair covering one eye, obviously this is not going to be my good side because you can't see my face. So you'll want to remember that. When I first started cosplaying, I never really took that into account. So sometimes I would do the coolest pose. I thought it was like the coolest pose, and I spent a lot of time prepping it, but it was the wrong side of my face. Honestly, all it takes sometimes is just turning your body, like turning your face. Sometimes that's all it takes to get a better photo and to get like the perfect angle of your face. So, communicating with your photographer, let them know in advance the character that you're going to cosplay, their personality, their background, their lore. Really, you can info dump on them, it's fine. They want more information. The more the better, so that they can also help you with that vision that you have for your character. And I think most of the time, photographers, you can just do like convention photo shoots and just go somewhere and take photos, but it's also helpful for the photographer to know what kind of photo they can take, like how to crop it, how to angle things, and things like that. It's really important for them to know of your character, their personality, their background, what kind of images they're wanting to take. Again, like I mentioned, sharing your inspiration board, your Pinterest board, or your pose examples with your photographer, so they can be the one to kind of help you position. If you don't have a helper, the photographer can kind of look at, this is what I usually do is, I have the photo on my phone and I like give it to them and they're about to take a picture and they kind of like look at me, look at the photo, kind of, and then position me how I need to, and then they can capture the perfect photo. And also having them ask them to help you pose, but don't let them do, I don't know why I didn't finish that sentence. But yeah, ask them to help you with posing, but they can't help you the whole time. Just so that you are aware, a photographer is just the person that takes the photo. They're not the model. So they can do all they can to help position you and kind of give you directions on like, turn your face just a little bit this way, like turn your chin down just a little bit, face to the side. But they can't pose, give you a new pose every single time. They're gonna keep taking the photos and you're gonna wanna keep moving and referring to your little default poses because yeah, they can help as much as they can, but they're doing a lot of work behind the camera as well. So, yes, up here?
Yeah, let's say you have a certain location where you want to shoot, but then you tell your photographer all the stuff about your character and then the character's background, and your photographer is like, hey, let's go shoot at this other location, I think you'll be a better suit your character, would you be open to that? Or would you like argue with the photographer and say, no, I want to shoot at my original location?
That's actually really important, is discussing locations as well with your photographer, because locations, again, can change the whole mood of a photo. You can do the same pose in 2 different locations, and one of them can be way more impactful than the other one. So yeah, discussing with your photographer locations. Sometimes when I'm talking about locations with my photographer, we both kind of give each other like a list of places, like maybe here or here, what about this place and this place, and we kind of discuss it together and narrow down what would be the best location for that particular character. So that's super important. Yes, up here?
When you're looking for a photographer, what is it that you're trying to find in their work, or what do you think stands out when you're looking for a photographer?
So are you asking me that question? Oh, so he asked basically what do I look for when I'm choosing a photographer, right? For me, I always try to refer to their portfolio, obviously. If they have a portfolio, an Instagram, social media, go through their photos, see the kind of pictures that they take. Because again, all photographers are not the same. They are like artists. They have their own style. They have their own editing style. They have their own, the way that they frame photos and things like that. What I usually look for, it's hard to say, because my photographers actually change all the time. Most of the time, I get my friends to take my photos who are not photographers. Sometimes they are photographers, but sometimes they're not. Sometimes I take my own photos. But what I look for when I'm booking like a photo shoot with a photographer is I just look at their profile, see if I like the style, if it's, I don't know, if it fits the character. Like I feel like sometimes there's photographers that focus on like brighter colors and kind of make the characters like more bright and open. You can really see that in their portfolio. And so if I have a happy, like excited, bright character, then I'll book them. Or there's photographers that kind of focus on edgy, darker, like, you know, darker looking photos. If I'm cosplaying something really angsty or really, you know, something like that, then I'll try to book a photographer that's shot things like that before. So. Any other questions about photographers, communicating with them? Any comments before I move on? No? All right. I don't have very many points here. That's supposed to say etc. at the end, not ETS. But it's getting a helper. I just wanted to discuss this. I talked about it before. You can get a friend, a family member, anybody really to help position you with photos. For me, I've always had way more success having an assist with me during a photo shoot. You don't need it, again, not necessary, but makes your life so much easier. They can be that cape flipper, you know, they can flip your cape and run out. You can't do that with just you and the photographer I mean, you could try, see if you can get the photo, but I don't think it would work. There's also, I know a lot of the times my friends, if I'm outdoors taking photos by flowers or by trees, like the friend can pull down a branch, you know, kind of in front of the camera so that you can see more of the flowers. So you get that perfect, you know, that perfect view of your face with the flowers and the branches. There's a lot of things an assist can do during a photo shoot. And honestly, it's not boring to be an assist also. A lot of times my assists for photo shoots are also other cosplayers that are also getting photos at the same time as me. Like we're all just doing a group photo shoot together. We're all getting photos done. And so we kind of take turns. Like you'll be the assist and then the photographer will take your photo, and then that's usually what I do with my friends. So. The assists also, like I said, can help the photographer with lighting. They can help with like certain angles and getting the best angle. Again, for me, not all the time the photographer tells me like, hey, you got a wig strand in your face. It's like on your eye, you should move it out of the way. And then afterward, I'm so excited for these photos, and then I look at them and then there's something that part of my cosplay fell off, you know, something that's just, I had a photo shoot one time where I was cosplaying Link, and they were really cute photos. We went to like a ranch, so it looked like Lon Lon Ranch, and it was really cute. And I got these really like, cute pictures of me petting the farm animals. But in all the photos, my hat's off, all of them. And I was like, what? I can't, I mean, you could Photoshop that back on, but that takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of time. And I really had wished that somebody had just told me, hey, your hat's off, you know, like, just put it back on. It was just hanging down here the whole time. So an assist is helpful in that regard. If the photographer is too busy like trying to get that photo, they don't always recognize or see if part of your costume has fallen off, because also if they don't know the character, they won't know any better. So I guess having an assist, and if they know the character, it's helpful for them to point it out and fix you. You know, they can fix your pose, they can fix your costume, and let you know what needs to be changed. So. We talked about this a little bit earlier, is utilizing your best angles, you know, your good side of your face. The thing is though, you don't always have to pose with your face showing. A lot, like, I don't know if you saw earlier my genuine photo of me doing the Disney princess pose. You can't see my face really at all. You can see part of my face, but my hair is covering my eye. But I think it still works. It's the whole background that I think also helped with that photo, is the focal point was more on just kind of the setting I was in, the kind of serenity of the location. So you didn't really need to see my face. But for other photos, typically your face is the focal point. Most of the time your face is the focal point, unless you're in a really cool location, then maybe the location is the focal point. So. We also talked about this a little bit, but preparing your poses with other people, how would all of your characters act together? If you think about like all the characters that you're cosplaying together, maybe you're cosplaying from the same series, you know, how would they interact with each other? Again, getting in that whole mindset of being the character. You are trying to take on the role of the character, and you want to be as in character as possible. So again, you can refer to that shared Pinterest, Google Drive folder. Look at the photos that you're wanting to recreate in the photo shoot and have a photographer or your assist help position all of you. For me, it's usually me. I'm the assist and I'm also in the photo, so I kind of have to guess and see. Hopefully I look okay, but I'm usually the one that positions everybody so that they look like, you know, the photo. Or if their head is tilted too high up, I'm like, hey, just put your head down a little bit so you don't see that double chin. And I know, I get it, you know, I'm the same way. I want my friends to tell me like, hey, you got a double chin going on, just tilt your head down a little bit. So that's really helpful as well. So just making sure that the people with you are prepared for a photo shoot as well, making sure that you're all on the same page, they have their default poses in mind, you have yours in mind, and you're ready to utilize your time effectively. So, well, that's toward the end. I just wanted to kind of, again, open discussion. If you guys have any final thoughts about any of these, any additional tips that you think would be useful for cosplayers or really anybody to know for posing and for photo shoots? Anyone? No? Okay, well, I wanted to do a live example maybe of me trying to position somebody, a cosplayer here, or multiple if you want, of me trying to position you maybe in a better angle, a better way, a better pose. If you're not super confident about your poses and you don't really have anything planned, I can maybe try to position you and you guys can kind of see the before and after, like the difference of how much a pose can change a character. So, does anybody want to volunteer to have me pose them? Over here? Sure? Okay, come up here. Tell me about your character.
This is Jeremy Patrick. He's just come back from having blown a big piercing event like his dog.
You got makachin. Okay, you got a dog. That means you got a prop, and you can pose with it. Let me go up there and actually show me what kind of pose you would do with this character. That's cute. I like that. That's a really cute pose. I'm thinking of some other poses that you might be able to use for that character. It might be cute. That's a cute pose. You can do another cute pose of him on top of your head, maybe. Yeah, you can kind of hold him a little backward. I'm trying to think of other ways that you can make this photo. Yeah, that's even cuter. If you have one leg up and you kind of you're very open, your body's very open, I think it's a very cute photo. Hard to hold, but...
Yeah, he's supposed to be a figure skater.
Figure skater, yep.
Maybe I'll do like...
There you go, yeah, do the whole figure skating pose with him on your head. See, and that's, I think, a good way of utilizing the space around you and like making your whole body like part of the photo. So yeah, I think that's a good example, and that's a really cute prop. That there's a lot you can do with little doggies. I love doggies. You saw my doggy. I love him. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with that. You can kind of like snuggle with him. You can pat him on the head. There's a lot of cute things you can do. I have a character that I cosplay as my original character, and he has a stuffed dog, a plushy dog, that I always just like am hugging him in the photo and smiling and like patting him on the head. There's a lot that you can do with plushies. So thank you. Anybody else want to volunteer? Are we good?
It's 9 o'clock, so.
It's 9 o'clock? Oh, okay, never mind. I can do, should I do one more? Am I okay to do one more? One more? You volunteer over here? Okay, this will be the last one. No, it's okay. You can, you're good. What character are you cosplaying?
Katone Shiomi from Persona 3 Portable.
Okay.
So she's had a hard past, but she kind of puts on a cheerful front. She's mostly just cheerful, like cheerful disposition.
Cheerful, kind of cutesy sort of character? Okay, what sort of poses would you do?
So I
for her?
mean, her sprites, they're like just kind of like hands behind the back, staggered. So I'm just kind of like.
So imitating official artwork, official sprites. Okay.
Sorry, I'll
No, it's okay.
I try not to smile with my teeth, but she doesn't smile with her teeth.
Okay, she doesn't smile with her teeth. The thing is, don't be afraid to smile with your teeth, because it does feel a little more genuine.
Yeah, I smile with teeth. So.
Yeah, so if she never does, like, that's okay, but you don't have to. But I feel like you don't always have to stick to that rule. Like, sometimes it's cute if your mouth is a little bit open or you're showing your teeth a little bit. So, some other poses you can do, you can try the
I have headphones.
headphones. There you go, that's perfect. So, kind of utilizing those, kind of, I know there's one that I like to do is tilt my head a little bit and have both of them in my ears. Kind of like look off in the distance, or I don't know, something like that. There's a lot you can do with, yeah, I don't know. That's great though. No, that's great. Again, like following the sprites. And the thing is, you can make it even more interesting if you want. If you want to follow the sprite and make her even more bubbly and excited, you can add like a lift of your leg, or you can add some arm out, or add something to kind of make it a little more interesting. So,
Makes sense.
yeah, you're welcome. All right, well, I guess we're over time, but thank you everybody so much for coming. I hope you guys learned something today. Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, if you guys have any other tips, anything like that, if you want to ask me more questions, you can find me. I'll be at a table tomorrow here at the convention. You can message me on social media. I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, again, thank you everybody. I learned a lot from you as well. So thank you, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your con. Thank you.